TEDxAsheville. Wow, this is quite an honor. This is quite an honor. In fact, if I had just 365 days to live, out of all of the possibilities in the world, anything that I could choose, this is exactly what I'd be doing right now. And I know for sure because I have been living the last year of my life for 31 years, which is weird, I know. Let me backtrack. My origin story sounds like the start of a scary movie. I was born on Day of the Dead, given away at birth, then on winter solstice, the darkest day of the year, I went to live with my new family in the Landolfi home for funerals. Can you imagine what it would be like to live in a funeral home? Yeah, you probably don't want to. And there's a good chance you don't even want to think about death, let alone talk about it. But death's not a scary monster trying to kill us. I know, one day we're all going to die. But the true purpose of death is to teach us how to live to the absolute fullest. Death is not our enemy. Death is the greatest coach ever, a relentless coach who wants us to win in the game of life. As we go through our days, death's always there, like a coach on the sidelines, telling us to make the play, calling us out when we drop the ball, even benching us for our own good. Have you ever gotten sick, and as you lay there feeling miserable, you think to yourself, I knew this was going to happen. In retrospect, you clearly see that your body was giving you warning messages, telling you to eat better, reduce your stress, get more sleep. But you didn't listen, and then you got sick. That's death benching you for your own good, so that you can learn the error of your ways, adjust yourself, and bring your A game. Death plays to win, and it does. Every time. And it wants the same for us. I'll give you a few examples. When you're at work and you're sitting there thinking, I hate this job. I've got to get out of this place. That's death saying, yeah, you're better than this. So let's go find you purposeful work you love. When you feel crappy and you're thinking to yourself, I got to eat better. I really need to lose some weight. That's death saying, do you want to make it to the championships or are you going to cut out in the first corner? Which is code for, are you going to live long and prosper or are you going to die early from preventable causes? When you feel bad about the way you've treated someone, that's death looking you in the eyes, shaking its head, saying, seriously? This is who you're choosing to be? When you feel guilt, shame, or regret about the way you've treated another, that's death saying, get it together. Death knows there's a champion inside of each of us. It wants nothing more than to call forth our potential. Death wants us to win in the game of life. And when we do, death could never be prouder. It celebrates with us. Now think of this. Can you imagine when you die, if death was there giving you high fives and a pat on the back? That's my goal. Death's always there encouraging us, telling us how to make the shot, to make the play. It knows what we need to win in the game of life. We just need to learn how to listen to its wisdom, which is what I'm here to help you do. My goal is to help you generate more joy today, tomorrow, and every day that you're blessed to be alive. And if you're feeling more stressed than blessed right now, you might want to take notes because this could be the exact wake-up call that you need. And I know because I was there. Now you're probably wondering who I am and how I learned so much about death. You know, aside from the funeral home and the Day of the Dead and all. To get to this point, standing on the TED stage, confronting my very serious fear of public speaking, I had to climb Everest. My mountain was mental illness. And I've never said that word out loud before, even to myself. What I wouldn't learn until I was diagnosed with depression at the age of 16 is that I was a kid growing up with obsessive compulsive disorder and a panic disorder so intense it was labeled severe and debilitating. It was bad. Death was the villain of my story for decades. I had my first panic attack when I was 6 or 7 years old. Felt like my throat was closing up, and like it is now, my heart was beating really fast. I couldn't breathe. And it's like there was a knife jabbing me in the chest, prying my ribs apart. I was absolutely convinced that I was dying. A pattern that would repeat itself for 25 years, over which I died thousands of times. By the time I was 16 years old, I was exhausted. I could not take the constant torture of continuous panic attacks. So I challenged death to a duel. As my systems were shutting down from a potentially fatal suicide attempt, I saw my life flash in front of my eyes. At first, I was happy to be dying. And then I thought of everyone I loved and everything I loved, and I felt the most immense sense of regret. It's like for the first time I had the thought, what if life gets better? What if I get better? And then, in that fantastical moment floating somewhere between life and death, I met the woman I was born to become. My potential was revealed. I saw myself acting in films in Hollywood. I did that. I saw myself healthy, happy, and truly peaceful. I am. I even saw myself standing on stages, speaking, motivating people, which is my intention here tonight. Now, I am alive because I chose to fight for my life. Honestly, I still wanted to kill myself, but with this glimmer of hope, I thought, maybe if I get braver, life will get better. So in that moment, I made myself a deal and I called the ambulance. When the deal that I made with myself was to give myself 365 days to live. My life got better because death stalked me, not despite it. For me, there were only two options: evolve or die. I honestly don't think that I would have accomplished or achieved or experienced a fraction of the things that I have in my life if death had not been driving me to live. To escape the darkness that I experienced with every panic attack, I chased the light, searching for meaning, purpose, and peace. Knowing that I could die any day, I didn't sit around and wait for it to come to me. I sought it out. I took steps every day to create the peace that I desired. And I found it. I healed the panic disorder that 5 doctors told me was impossible to do. I'm going to just say that again so I can hear myself. I healed the panic disorder that 5 doctors told me was impossible to do. I'm standing here today because death motivated me to live. I healed because I did the work, the inner work, and now I am reaping the rewards. Out of everything I've done in my life, My personal improvement is what I'm most proud of. And my two greatest rewards are my dogs, Gigi and Valentine. Whereas death has been my coach, my dogs are my guru, and they're the loves of my life, which totally blows my mind because I used to be as terrified of dogs as I was of death because I seriously believed that all dogs wanted to kill me. That's OCD. I would have never believed that this is the woman that I would grow up to be. I'm here because of death. We all have the potential for personal greatness. We all have the potential to live an extraordinarily joyful life. So what's stopping us? Fear. Fear has killed more dreams than courage has ever claimed. We're afraid that we're going to fail. We're afraid that we're going to be rejected. We're afraid we're not good enough. The fact is, we are afraid to admit what we really want because oftentimes it is so dramatically different than the way that we're living right now. Then on the flip side, there's FOMO, fear of missing out. People are running, constantly going on a hamster wheel. But are you getting where you want to be? Are you the person you want to be? These are the questions to ask yourself. There's another reason that we don't fulfill our potential right now, and that's the belief that we can declare when we're going to die. Claiming that you're going to live to 80 or beyond and charting course decades into your future does not command it to be so. I'm sorry, but genetics and family history do not equate longevity. As my friend, hospice doctor Aditi Sethi-Brown likes to say, death doesn't come when you're ready for it. Death comes when it's ready for you. One day we will each wake up and the last year of our life will have begun. Death doesn't send a save the date. So here's what I want to ask you. If you had just 365 days to live, what would you do? Would you live differently than you are right now if you knew you had only 365 days to live? Really feel into this. If you had just 365 days to live, how would you want to feel? Would you spend 305 of those days stressed out, worrying, angry? I don't think so. So what are you waiting for? Your answers are your ticket to a better life. Here's what I propose that you do. I've turned living the last year of my life, and as I said, I've been living 365 alive for 31 years. So what I do is every day I ask myself those questions that I pose to you. I really reflect on it, and then I take steps to leap outside of my comfort zone, like doing a TEDx talk. I want you to look at what it would look like for you to take steps to improve the quality of your life. Here's what I propose. I want you to throw away your bucket list because typically it's more of a suck it list. As in, okay, you just wrote down a whole bunch of cool, fun things that you want to do. Now suck it up, get back to work at the job you hate, and then maybe someday in the future, I will let you have some fun. And we all know how that typically works out. I want you to start a live it list, which is exactly what it sounds like. A list of things that you can do, be, and experience that will add more joy, purpose, and fulfillment to your life, which are the ingredients to an extraordinary life. Claire Wineland was an outstanding example. I want you to know this young lady. Claire Wineland was an outstanding example of living as if it could be the last year of your life. Because for Claire, that was the case from birth. Claire was living with cystic fibrosis, and I mean living. I have never witnessed a more gloriously joyful human being, and that's because Claire knew the preciousness of each moment that we are blessed to be alive. This wise young woman knew what it means to truly live. To quote her, "Death is inevitable. Living a life that you can be proud of is something that you can control." Claire Wineland died 1 week ago tonight at the age of 21. And while it is sad that she did not get the quantity of time that we hope for, Claire lived a life of exquisite quality. She spent most of it in service, and what she contributed to the world is showing us how we can live joyously while dying. And you might not think that that's relevant to you, but here's the thing. We're all terminal. Don't wait for the diagnosis to wake you to the life that you really want to live. Go on, live your dreams, get out of your own way. Go for it now. I want you to win in the game of life, and winning is to live a life you love. So I want you to promise this: do not die until you have fully lived. And I can honestly say that I have never, I knew I was going to cry, I have never felt more alive than I do right now. I did it. I beat my fear of public speaking, and I am a TEDx speaker. Woo! I did it! Oh my God, I didn't. Thank you. Thank you.